Well, okay, we can start. A few words in Spanish first, yes, for some people who have been, cheers, yes, hello everybody, such a good time, such a long time, and we're going to have a good time as well. Buenas tardes a todos y todas. Como representante del Departamento de Profesorado de Inglés, del IES Olga Cossettini, quisiera decir unas breves palabras y darles las gracias por participar de este cumpleaños virtual en el que celebraremos un año más de nuestro querido Profesorado de Inglés. Quisiera en primer lugar agradecer la presencia del equipo de gestión representado por la rectora de nuestro instituto, traductora Bárbara Nale. Hola Bárbara. La presencia de la jefa del Departamento de Francés, profesora María Ángeles Torceta, también. Agradecer la asistencia de instituciones asociadas a través de sus representantes, quienes siempre están presentes y predispuestos a contribuir con la formación profesional de nuestros graduados. Y agradecer la asistencia de mis colegas docentes, equipo de trabajo y la masiva participación de alumnos y alumnas. Pero quisiera destacar la presencia de nuestras profesoras y profesores jubilados. Agradecerles el compromiso y afecto que aún conservan con el profesorado y la institución. Por ello me gustaría compartir algunos de sus comentarios al momento de recibir la invitación, lo cual nos llenó de orgullo y también de ternura. Por ejemplo, esto es bilingüe, contestaron en ambos idiomas. ¿Cómo va a ser esta reunión? Delighted to share this event. Warm regards. Many thanks for the invitation. I really feel honored to participate. Please do count me in. It'll be a pleasure to listen to young ex-students' voices. I miss my dear ES so much. 85 years of precious work. All the best. Estimada Analía, agradezco tan cordial invitación y con mucho placer compartiré los festejos del 85 aniversario del Profesorado de Inglés, que no solo me brindó una sólida formación, sino inolvidables experiencias. Muchísimas gracias por la invitación. Me uniré a la reunión para escuchar las presentaciones de estas jóvenes docentes que empiezan un camino distinto y sin dudas estarán a la altura del desafío que enfrentan. Un saludo afectuoso. Buenas noches, muchas gracias por la invitación. Los felicito por la propuesta y me alegra encontrar a exalumnas como disertantes. Será un placer compartir esta experiencia. Saludos cordiales. Buen día, colegas. Muy agradecida por la amable invitación a esta celebración. Haré todo lo posible por estar. Un cordial saludo y que todo salga perfecto. Re buena onda. Apreciamos cada una de sus palabras y su reconocimiento. Queremos que sepan que nos sentimos honradas hoy de contar con vuestra presencia y haremos llegar la grabación de esta jornada para aquellas profesoras jubiladas que no han podido estar hoy presentes en este encuentro virtual. Y por último, pero no menos importante, quisiera destacar y agradecer la invalorable colaboración en la idea y organización de este evento a las profesoras Mariel Ames y Andrea Montserrat. Andrea, recientemente jubilada como docente y regente de nuestro instituto. Y de nuestro instituto y docente del profesorado. Ahora una breve reseña. El 1 de abril de 1936 iniciaron sus clases los profesorados de inglés y de francés de la ciudad de Rosario, dependientes entonces de la Escuela Normal de Profesoras número 1 de Rosario, doctor Nicolás Avellaneda. Este fragmento, el cual compartiré en un segundo, extraído del libro de oro del Normal número 1 en referencia a la fundación del profesorado en lenguas vivas, da cuenta de las palabras pronunciadas por el entonces ministro de Justicia e Instrucción Pública de la Nación, doctor Jorge de la Torre. Los cursos de lenguas vivas se crearon para reforzar altas ramas de la cultura, porque el estudio de los idiomas llena una necesidad universal que radica en la trascendencia de la palabra como expresión transmisora de los pensamientos. Con estas palabras, queda entonces oficialmente inaugurado el curso de profesores en lenguas vivas, de profesorado en lenguas vivas, el 29 de octubre de 1936, hace exactamente 85 años. Estas palabras cristalizaron ante la obra cumplida, las aspiraciones de aquellos que la idearon y le dieron vida. Se trataba de la primera institución del interior del país que ofrecería estas carreras. Hasta ese momento solamente se dictaban en Buenos Aires. La elección de nuestra ciudad es testimonio de su intensa vida intelectual y su vasta zona de influencia, ya en esos días. Años más tarde, en 1968, estos cursos de lenguas vivas pasan a la jurisdicción del Instituto Nacional del Profesorado de Rosario, hoy nuestro IES Olga Cossettini. A lo largo de esta larga trayectoria, los profesores y profesoras de inglés han debido enfrentarse a diferentes desafíos. Años de cambios sociales, políticos, nuevos enfoques metodológicos, un mundo cada vez más globalizado, conectado, el avance vertiginoso de las tecnologías de la información y comunicación y su aplicación a la enseñanza del inglés como lengua extranjera, entre otros. Y como si todo esto fuera poco, durante estos 2 últimos años, con el advenimiento de una pandemia jamás imaginada por todos nosotros, nos enfrentamos con nuestros miedos, pero también con nuevos desafíos. Durante estos 2 años nos vimos forzados a distanciarnos físicamente de nuestros afectos, nuestras aulas, del instituto, del encuentro cotidiano con colegas, compañeros de trabajo y también nos alejó de lo más importante para un docente, nuestros alumnos y alumnas. Sin embargo, a mi criterio, el saldo fue positivo. Hemos aprendido y puesto en práctica palabras como resiliencia, tolerancia, flexibilidad, empatía, y en muchos casos, nuestros lazos y la interacción con los alumnos se han mantenido o incluso fortalecido, aún en la distancia. Y hemos aprendido nuevas habilidades y herramientas de supervivencia, diría yo, gracias al compromiso con la educación y la formación docente. Nos hubiese gustado poder celebrar este nuevo cumpleaños del profesorado de manera presencial, pero sabemos que aún no es posible. Por eso, antes de que finalice este año lectivo y aprovechando al menos la posibilidad de encontrarnos en forma virtual, el Departamento de Inglés propone celebrar este 85 aniversario de su creación, recuperando voces, experiencias relevantes y propuestas de 4 graduadas recientes para mirar hacia el futuro desde su perspectiva. Por eso que esta actividad ha sido denominada New Challenges, Young Voices, Celebrating 85 Years of ELT Education. Welcome, everybody. And now, after these introductory words in Spanish, I'd like to switch into English, give a warm welcome to all of you present here today, and introduce the real protagonists of this meeting. As a teacher and teacher trainer myself, I've been eagerly looking forward to this moment and listening to these 4 recent graduates of our institute. I do really hope you enjoy it. After each presentation, we'll be devoting some minutes for any questions you'd like to ask, yes, regarding the topics presented and any questions you would like to ask the guest speakers. In the first place, we're going to listen to Ms. Estefanía Militello, and her presentation has been entitled, Winds of Change Are Blowing, Down with the Body-Shaming Culture. This talk focuses on a project to spur young students on to follow the path of self-acceptance in the face of adverse circumstances to make peace with their body image. Audiovisual and creative activities will be shared so that participants can stimulate their students to unpack and deprogram arbitrary messages in the classroom, tapping into the students' innermost thoughts and emotions, unleashing their creativity and helping them to get a feel for the target language. Estefanía Militello is a teacher of English for secondary education from the IES Olga Cossettini. She's currently the director of the English Studio, which she defines as a space where the playful use of authentic materials is central in the language learning experience. She holds a CLTA certificate from International House, London, and has done a language-free teaching assistantship at Instituto Superior San Bartolomé de Rosario. Estefanía, when you are ready, you may start. Sorry, can we all please mute our microphones? There is somebody who's, yes, thank you. All right.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much, first of all, for giving me this opportunity. Just bear with me 1 minute, because I'm kind of new with this. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay. Am I sharing? I think I am, right?
Yes, you are.
There we go.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, first of all, I'd like to begin my talk by introducing myself. I'm Estefanía Militelo, and I've been running my own language school, the English Studio, for 4 years now. And the kind of work we do here is pretty much related to the project I'm going to share with you today. So if you allow me first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the kind of classes we teach at the English Studio, so as to give you an insight into the project I'm going to share with you today. So let's move on, shall we? Here we go. Okay. So, in essence, our main goal at the English Studio is not just to teach English, but rather to provide our students with contexts and activities that are conducive to experiencing the target language firsthand. So basically what we do is we teach classes that aim at exposing our students to authentic materials with a view to helping them get a feel for the target language in a hands-on learning experience, during which the students not only learn vocabulary and grammar in an authentic context, but also, and most importantly, they develop social and cultural awareness. After all, what better way is there for the students to make sense of a social or cultural issue and to pick the students' interest in it than by watching a TED Talk, reading a poem, or listening to a song illustrating that particular social or cultural phenomenon in question? Well, needless to say, we do make use of a course book, of course, but we are convinced that shifting our students' attention away from it quite regularly results in much more meaningful learning. Having explained how we work at the English Studio, I'd like now to move on to the specifics of the lessons I've taught as part of this project. Well, as you very well said, the name of my project is Winds of Change Are Blowing, Done with a Body Shaming Culture. And what you should know about these lessons is that they've been taught this year to a a small number of students who are taking the proficiency course, more or less over 3 to 4 lessons. And the activities we did were the following ones. We watched, first of all, a TED Talk called The Fear of Fact. After that, we worked with a poem called A Poem for Healing, Reclaiming Self-Love and Self-Acceptance. And finally, we proceeded to listening to a song called Don't Let Me Get Me by Pink. You must be familiar with it, I'm sure. But before we take a closer look at each and every of these activities, let me walk you through the whys and wherefores of my choice of theme for these lessons. All right. So you may be wondering why on earth I've chosen to do a project on such theme. When it comes to planning my lessons, I tend to draw inspiration from interesting experiences I've had that I feel my students could relate to. And these lessons were not the exception. So back in 2019, I attended this TED Talk in Rosario, in which I had the chance to listen to Candela Shache talking about fat talk, which was a real eye-opener for me. Surely, we are all painfully aware of how obsessed we are with our body image. But let me tell you that only after listening to her talk did I come to the realization that such seemingly harmless comments on our bodies actually inflict self-harm, great self-harm, and this shakes our confidence. Well, not only that, but also these comments cause great harm to others, which results in a much bigger problem. You see, throughout our lives, stereotypes have been created, reinforced, and perpetuated by anti-fat media bias, which has done nothing but alienate us from ourselves and from the rest of society, discouraging the creation of a close-knit community. Yes, you heard me right, discouraging the creation of a close-knit community. And I'd like to make a point of this. Well, since time immemorial, we've been learning to equate fat with bad due to the many insidious judgments made by the media on people of weight. And the worst part of it is that this systematic form of oppression is so deeply rooted in our lives that we don't notice it, let alone challenge it. So here we go. It appears that perceiving our bodies as fat is, well, God forbid, the worst thing that can ever happen to us. We are absolutely terrified of being fat. But this fear isn't unfounded. The real cause of this fear lies in the fact that being fat has long and arbitrarily been associated with being unhealthy, lazy, self-abasing, and undateable. Yeah, well, after all, who in their right mind would dare date an unhealthy, lazy, and self-abasing person, right? While being thin has long been associated with being healthy, successful in every sphere of life, confident, and smoking hot. Well, precisely smoking hot because thinness implies some kind of power or control of over our own bodies, appetites, and life. Well, I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me when I say that it's glaringly obvious that we've been made to subscribe to this arbitrary form of acceptable with express purpose of making beauty or slimming products all the more enticing to tackle these body image issues, right? Be that as it may, what I find alarming, and I think you will also find alarming, is the implication that embracing thinness as good has in terms of how we value ourselves and others. At any rate, by allowing ourselves to indulge in this fear of fat, not only do we demean ourselves by assessing or define our self-worth merely in terms of slenderness, but also we look down on others. To put it bluntly, clinging to this ideal of thinness all this time, has robbed us of our sense of humanity, hasn't it? And an inhumane society doesn't foster community spirit. On the contrary, an inhumane society is rather broken and fragmented. All the more so with the advent of technology, and more specifically with the advent of social media. It's no wonder that the fear of fat has become ever so intense in this digital era, since social networking sites are relentlessly bombarding us with fat-shaming messages and images. So, to wrap it up, after processing all this information at Candela's TED Talk, I couldn't help but to think what my students could be feeling about this and how these issues could be affecting them, both in and out of the classroom. So then I had this idea that as a teacher, I could and I should also pitch in to help Candela fight for this social cause. All right, so let's now plunge ourselves into the activities I did over these 4 lessons. What I found fascinating about Candela's TED Talk was the powerful statement she made when she appeared on stage carrying a wheelbarrow full of bricks, grabbing one at a time every time she made a negative comment about her body, and placing them on the floor, piling them up to form a wall. So I thought that this metaphorical wall could be a very clear way for my students to grasp the idea that the more judgmental we are, the more alienated we are from ourselves and from others. So to kick off the first lesson of the project, I thought of emulating her presentation somehow by sticking rectangular pieces of cardboard, orange cardboard, on the board, simulating a kind of wall. Each of these pieces of cardboard had on their backs some images illustrating social issues most people feel strongly about these days, such as you can very well see, fat phobia, racial discrimination, gender equality, homophobia, classism, ageism, ableism, and strong aversion to political differences. Even though the main focus of my lesson was to discuss fat phobia, it occurred to me that discussing all these other social issues would kind of pave the way to proving how judgmental and divided we are as a society. So the first thing I did was to ask my students, to take a look at the board and ask my students what they could make of those orange pieces of cardboard. And then they took it in turns to come to the board. They picked a brick, they turned it around, and they started talking about the social issue that image evoked and how strongly they felt about it. They talked about it for give or take 2 minutes, and after that they had to ask their classmates for opinion. I must say that many interesting points were raised here, as most of the students drew on personal experiences and exchanged ideas. Well, after every student finished or had their chance to speak about one of these cards for 2 minutes and to exchange opinions with others, every student went back to the board. They stuck the bricks again on the board, and what I thought of doing was to stick kind of the names. Below each of the pictures, I stuck the names of each of the social issues, because I wanted students to get the chance to see the full picture, so as to understand what the brick wall stood for. So my next question was what they thought the brick wall metaphor stood for. Well, the aims of these activities were, in the first place, to raise awareness of the many discriminatory practices we follow and how doing so prevent us from building this community spirit. And on a linguistic level, the activity allowed the students scope for developing and sustaining discourse, as well as engaging in a discussion, which is very similar to the CPE speaking test part 3. Okay, well, With a view to establishing a link between the discussions we had with those images and the TED Talk we are about to watch, I thought about showing my students this picture and asking them these questions, what they could make of this image, what they thought that the image represented, and how the people felt in it. Then I asked them if they were familiar with the idiom "an elephant in the room," and also if they could think of ways in which they could use this idiom in relation to the social issues discussed. Then I told them that we were going to watch a TED Talk related to one of the social issues discussed, and that at the beginning of the TED Talk, the speaker would mention the idiom, "an elephant in the room," in order to make reference to a particular problem. We watched the video or the TED Talk for the first minute in order to understand the gist of the TED Talk. And what we did first was to watch it with the image on, but with the sound off. I wanted them to tell me what the problem in question was, like to speculate about it, and why they thought the speaker chose to use that idiom, "an elephant in the room," in particular. After that, to check their guesses, we played that part of the video again with the image on and the sound on. The idea was to check their guesses and also to comment on the effectiveness of the use of that idiom, particularly in this case. Well, the aims of these activities were, first of all, on the one hand, to heighten our conscious awareness of how deeply rooted fat phobia is, and on the other hand, from a linguistic viewpoint, to infer the meaning of idiomatic expressions from context and to make sense of how pun-on words work and how effective they are to make listeners or readers reflect on a particular point and even to achieve a humorous effect. All of which is actually very important at an advanced level. Well, after that, we kept on watching this TED Talk to work on listening for detail. And what we did was we watched and answered some comprehension questions, and then we watched and completed a gapped text. The aims here were to gain detailed insight into the myriad of ways there are to a body in order to eliminate or reduce this anti-fat media bias that has become an integral part of our lives, and, well, of course, to practice the listening skill. After that, as a post-watching activity, I encouraged my students to prepare a 2-minute oral presentation summarizing the most important points and airing their views on the matter. Of course, I must say that they carried out this activity as homework because we were pressed for time by then. I also urged them to do some dictionary work to understand the meanings of some idioms and advanced discourse markers the speaker used, with a view to, so that they would use them actually when they prepared their presentations. I wanted them to try to put them into practice. So the aims then here were to practice the ability to develop and sustain discourse, and also to practice the ability to summarize and pass on value judgment. Well, In the second lesson of this project, we worked with the poem I told you before, a poem for healing, reclaiming self-love and self-acceptance. It goes without saying that self-acceptance doesn't happen overnight. Rather, it's a long and winding road, to quote the Beatles song. As it is quite a roller coaster to unpack and deprogram other people's and our own negative or arbitrary messages on our body image, I thought that working with poetry would be a gateway to steering students off the path of self-abasement towards the path of self-acceptance, due to the remarkable powers poetry can unlock. Not only can poetry make us more empathetic towards other people, but it also allows us the possibility of tapping into our innermost thoughts and emotions. So what I did was to, well, first of all, to look for a thematically related poem, which I found. And what I did with that poem was to erase some bits of it so as to encourage my students to work out what the theme of the poem was first, who might have written it and why. After discussing their ideas, the students weren't shown the complete version of the poem. Instead, they were asked to unleash their creativity by completing the missing lines or bits of the poem, and then to share these poems with their classmates. To be honest, when I planned this activity, I thought my students were going to kill me, because, you know, it's not very common for us to share our emotions openly. But to be honest, they surpassed my expectations. They really threw themselves into the activity, and the outcome of the task was great. What I would also like to say is that what I found very interesting and challenging about this activity was the fact that besides taking up the challenge of being in touch with their own emotions and expressing them in front of other people, to be able to put those emotions into words, the students had to get a feel for the language and to sharpen their sense of coherence in order to put their message across in the intended way. As you may imagine, of course, some students did struggle with coherence and accuracy, but still the activity proved quite productive in that it made the students acutely aware of the importance of their choice of words and how their ideas are put forward, with a view, of course, to building texture in a written piece of discourse. Well, after that, the students were presented with the complete version or the original version of the poem, and they were made to compare their own versions with the original one. First of all, the idea was to check that they both thought about the same or similar themes, and also to compare both versions in terms of content and effect on the reader. So to sum up, the aims of this part of the project, these activities were to spur the students on to unpack and deprogram arbitrary comments on their body image, tapping into their innermost thoughts and emotions, unleashing their creativity, and helping them to get a feel for the target language. Well, as I told you before, at the English Studio, we are big on exposing our students to different types of authentic materials. So as the final stage of this project of self-acceptance, I came up with the idea of working with a song, with this song, Don't Let Me Get Me by Pink. And well, first we listened to the song and watched the video for gist. We watched it with the image on and the sound on in order to find similarities between the issues raised in the TED Talk and poem and the song. After that, we proceeded to listen to the song or watch it, yes, for detail. We did the following activities. I asked them to fill in the blanks with one word, to put the lines in order, to match, cross out the extra word. And as a follow-up activity, in order to keep on heightening this sense of self-acceptance and to go on stimulating their creativity, my students were asked to let their imagination run wild so as to create a found poem. Well, for those of you who don't know what a found poem is, a found poem consists of combining different or picking different lines from different poems, combining and rearranging them in order to create a new poem. The students were asked to pick the lines from the song and from the poem they previously wrote that they mostly related to in order to make a whole new piece. In this case, if they wanted to, they could change the tone of the poem because the other ones were thought-provoking. If they wanted to, they could be, the tone could be humorous or playfully ironic. And here, the aims were to encourage the students to enthusiastically and genuinely embrace diversity by reclaiming their bodies out loud. I believe that by celebrating their bodies in a poem and reciting them in front of others, this could be considered like the first step to fight this body shaming culture, favoring a community building approach instead of one that dulls our sense of togetherness. And that's the end.
All right, great, Estefania. Thank you so much for sharing your project with us. Well, we are going to devote a couple of minutes to some questions. If there are some students at the Profesorado or teachers who would like to ask Steffi some questions, yes, very good indeed. And in the meantime, I tell you that Mariel is going to share a link on the chat for those of you who would like to ask for a certificate of attendance to this webinar. Yes, now you will find it on the chat.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions to Estefania? Okay. Nobody? Well, pay attention, my students, the ones who are doing didactics. Yes, this didactic sequence might be quite an eye-opener for some ideas. Okay, good. Well, let's move on now to our second guest. This time is the turn of Julieta Ayub. Her presentation is named What It Is Like to Attend a Seminar in Oxford University, the Headway Scholarship Competition. Julieta Ayub is a teacher of English for secondary education and literary, technical and scientific translator, graduated from the ES Olga Cossettini. She was awarded the Headway Scholarship Competition on 2 occasions, in 2016, second prize, and 2017, first prize. She currently works in the private sector. Ready, Juli? Yes? Okay. We listen to you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to start by sharing first. All right, that's it. Well, hello. Yes, my name is Julieta Schur. I am a teacher of English for secondary education, as well as a literary, technical, and scientific translator. Graduated from the ES Olga Cossettini. Today, I would like to share my experience as a Headway Scholarship competition winner, but also I would like to talk a bit about scholarships in general. You see, the Headway Scholarship competition is just only one in a world of opportunities. There are really quite a lot of scholarships out there, a lot of opportunities for EFL teachers these days. Presses and publishers such as Oxford University Press, Cambridge, Macmillan, they offer a wonderful variety of scholarships, and they try to gather teachers from as many geographical, social, cultural, racial backgrounds as possible. Well, these are competitions to attend ELT courses abroad, to write or to work for a publisher, to win a trip to the IATEFL or TSO conferences, to be part of a language exchange program, or even simply to just gain free access to materials. These are some of the ones I particularly like, or I've been doing some research about. The Teach with Dave competition, which is a global competition for EFL teachers, which Macmillan launched in 2019, offering Gateway users, Gateway is a series, a once-in-a-lifetime professional development opportunity. A 2-day teacher training course in London with Gateway author Dave Spencer. Then there is the Pearson English Global Teacher. This is a competition which allows 5 award winners from different regions of the world to receive an all-expenses paid trip to the IATEFL or TSO conferences with the opportunity to share their stories and to listen to others. And then there is the British Council Language Assistance Program and the Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant, which offer actually teachers of English to offer the possibility to be language assistants in either of the 2 countries. And then there is the Headway Scholarship competition as well. Now, you may be wondering maybe where to find them. The truth is that I know very little about all this until I came across the Headway Scholarship competition on the internet out of the blue in 2015. I was just planning a class. I was looking up some word in the online Oxford Learners Dictionary when all of a sudden I found myself clicking on this flashy ad next to the definition, win a scholarship. I had no idea. But so my quest began. And if again, you're asking yourself, well, where to find them. I know that an online dictionary is not like the most common opportunity or possibility. I would say that social media is a place. I would suggest following certain accounts which post regularly all of these, following them, following the Oxford University Press, Cambridge, Macmillan, Pearson, the British Council. All of them is sometimes necessary to follow, like in Spanish, the Spanish versions, or even the ones from Argentina, like Pearson, Argentina, Macmillan, Argentina. Also to follow APIVA, abril, and to follow them on different platforms as well. Because sometimes what you miss on Instagram will appear on your Facebook and Twitter feed. And you do want to subscribe. Whenever you can tick that box, do tick it. So, what about the ad then? I clicked on the ad, no idea what to expect. Even when I sent in the application, I had little expectations. Basically, time went by, and it wasn't until a couple of months later that I realized there had been an email for a week expecting my reply. I had won the scholarship competition and I had no idea. And well, as soon as I saw that email, which had been in the spam for quite a long time, I sent a confirmation email, and so the story began. So what is the Headway Scholarship Competition? This is an annual competition that is organized by the Headway Foundation through the generosity of John and Liz Soers, who are the authors. It is an all expenses paid a scholarship for you to attend the 15-day ELT summer seminar that is held annually at the beautiful premises of Exeter College, which is one of Oxford University's oldest colleges. The scholarship is open to teachers from all over the world. One of the main requirements is simply that you teach Headway in your classes. And well, what it does is send 6 lucky teachers from all around the world to attend the ELT summer seminar. But when you get there, you find yourself surrounded by a very big group of teachers. We were about 60 attendees, in fact, from over 20 countries. Brazil, Mexico, the US, Poland, Vietnam, everything. In Liz Soers' words, she says that the setting up of Headway Scholarship over 10 years ago was a way of repaying teachers for the trust you have placed in our writing. The exceptionally positive response from scholarship winners from so many countries who have followed the ELT teachers course at Exeter College, Oxford, has been very gratifying indeed. And Adrian Underhill is the principal tutor of the summer seminar, which has been running for 25 years now. He says that the course is an opportunity to establish an international learning community where everybody is out of their own box from home, ready to change and do things differently and learn together in English. It is stupendous. Well, I had no idea about all this when I arrived in Oxford, or very little idea, in fact. I arrived in Oxford on July the 23rd, 2017, and from the moment I set foot in Exeter College, I had a very busy schedule. First of all, I was accommodated in the room where I would be sleeping for the next 15 days. During this time of year, July, college students are not at their dorms, so we are accommodated in these unbelievably historic bedrooms where people such as Tolkien slept. In fact, his room was just across mine. After that, we were welcomed by the orientation meeting, a welcome drinks reception at Fellows Garden, which is this dreamy garden that Exeter has, and an opening dinner in the majestuous Exeter Dining Hall, which would be our dining hall for the rest of the stay. If you're fans of Harry Potter, it may ring a bell. And as if that wasn't enough, the college bar was open until 10:30, which meant more socializing from day one. The day after that was to be our first academic day. Our daily schedule was very demanding, yet highly motivating. Each morning started with some very informative lectures given by inspiring teaching trainers. I would say the elite of EFL, the EFL world. Those are some of the ones that we attended every morning. A bit about pronunciation, storytelling, visual literacy. They were visionaries. A lot of classes on technology. All right. Then we had the workshops. After these lectures in the morning, we had a break and we had a morning workshop then, and then another workshop after lunch. Before going, we were asked to choose 2 workshops per week. The workshops covered a wide variety of EFL areas, for every taste. And the tutors, for example, John Hurd or Edmund Dudley or Adrian Underhill, were just amazing. It was impossible actually to make a choice. It was like Sophie's choice, but well, I managed to pick 2 for week 1, grammar, exploring grammar, and approaches to integrating pronunciation into your teaching. And for week 2, I chose exploring grammar again, and 5 key skills for inspirational teacher training, which were just amazing. Now, aside from the learning, we had our fair share of entertainment too. Indeed, we had lots of fun. We did some Scottish country dancing. We went on a pub tour. We also had the OUP treasure hunt, an open-air Shakespeare play performance. Well, we talked about our countries a lot. We had a special day in which we tried local delicacies and drank on a special cultural exchange night, which was also very welcoming, very welcoming. And most importantly, I honestly made lifelong friends. We sometimes Zoom together, we have a WhatsApp group. Whenever we need to share or to ask something, it's like we have built a community, as Adrian said before. All right, so how to apply? Each year, the Headway, team launches this competition for 6 lucky winners around the world. The task could be a presentation, an essay, a lesson plan, among others. In 2016, when I was awarded a 2nd place, I had to submit a PowerPoint presentation answering the question, how do you and your students profit from using Headway in the class? By the way, there is no 2nd prize, but 2016 was a special date. I was awarded a piece of technological equipment with Headway material, but it's not the rule to have a 2nd prize. I didn't know there were 2nd prizes, by the way. In 2017, the task was to write an essay about how helpful the Headway technological resources were. And in 2018, I was basically encouraging everyone to apply for the Headway scholarship, and I took a screenshot of the entry form. They had to basically choose any unit from any Headway book to modify it or to suggest some improvements and to create a similar lesson plan. That was the 2018. Well, basically now I look back and I cannot believe how a PowerPoint presentation and an essay have brought me so many unique and magical experiences. It was really an unforgettable experience. The knowledge, the experience, the friends it's given me, I will forever treasure them, really. Ever since I came back, in fact, I've been trying to put into practice all that I learned, but I still have to say that there are a lot of things I haven't managed to include. So that's still some homework I'm working on. And well, that's it. Just happy birthday, Olga Cossettini. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and the opportunity to have 2 degrees for the people I have come to know, both students and teachers. And thank you. See you around.
Thank you, Julieta. It was so interesting. Yes, what an achievement. What a challenge. Well, okay, congrats. Yes, congrats.
Yeah.
Great experience, in fact. Yes. Any questions to Juli? Anybody who is trying to apply or who would like to apply? I don't know what's going. What happened this year? Do you know?
As far as I know, it's waiting. I think that the last people who applied haven't been able to go. So yes, they are waiting to send them, and then maybe they will open the following one.
Okay, good. Well, we had an excellent representative from Rosario, from our institute.
Just a question now, Juli. And what about? Could you appreciate? What about the other participants' education? I mean, teacher education. Did they receive a different? Could you, observed or in that exchange that their training is different from ours, or is basically similar? I mean, do they do it in a different way?
It's an interesting question. Well, I mean, there were so many of us that it was actually difficult to focus on particular examples. But there were people. I mean, you don't need to be a teacher, like to have a degree in order to apply. In fact, I didn't have it back then. So there are people who sometimes teach English and just either applied and won the scholarship. There were many people, because, I mean, you can pay for the course, actually, if you want to go. You can pay for it. There were many teachers who have done that. There were other teachers who have been sent by their schools, especially from Europe, maybe a lot of people from Russia. But no, actually, the level was quite similar among all of us, if that answers.
All right. Well, okay. Let's move on then. Yes. Well, remember if you want to ask for your certificate, on the chat, there is a link, yes, where you can fill in a form to request your certificate of attendance. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you, Mariel. Well, our next presenter is Ms. Magalí Segalerba. Hi, Maggie. She's going to take us to a new dimension, EFL teaching in a Montessori environment. Magalí Segalerba is teacher of English for secondary education and for initial and primary education, graduated at the ES Olga Cossettini. English area coordinator at Escuela Montessori in Funes, director of the Enjoy Learning workshops and pre-primary teacher at St. Patrick's School. She's an assistant for Association Montessori International. She has done a phonology and diction 1 teaching assistantship at the ES Olga Cossettini. Ready, Maggie? Okay. Well.
Ready. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly well. We are ready to listen to you.
Okay, so I would like to invite you. First of all, it's a pleasure for me to be here. So many teachers and colleagues, so it's nice for me. Well, I would like to invite you to live a Montessori experience today. I know that this is not a Montessori environment and we need many things in order to make it, but let's see if we can do it. So if we were inside a Montessori classroom, I will first spend some time observing you, trying to see what your interests are, trying to observe your motor skills, trying to see what you like, what you don't. So first of all, I would like you to show you a short video of Montessori classroom, and then to know what your interests are, right? So let's see if I can share it. Is it okay? Can you see it?
Now, yes, Maggie. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see.
Children ages 3 to 6, this is what we call primary, and that is a very special time in life. Children are in formation. Their personalities aren't complete. They are building themselves. And their characteristics while they're doing that is that they are very concrete and sensorial. They learn by wrapping their hands around the world. And anyone who's been around a child under the age of 6 knows that. They can't resist literally touching, but they're really exploring with all of their senses. So one of the primary characteristics of a 3 to 6-year-old is a concrete sensorial learner. They're also parallel learners. They tend to follow their own inner guide. Sometimes they look like they're doing the same things, and of course they're also very social. But in terms of learning activity, they really thrive best when they are able to just follow their own independent line of exploration. They're explorers. So their whole job in life is to find out about this place that they found themselves. They found themselves in a world, they don't know anything about it, and so they are in the process of literally finding out about that world and creating themselves as a person of that time and place. In a classroom for 3 to 6-year-olds, probably one of the most unique features is the movement of the children. Since they are parallel learners on this exploration of their world, each child in the room will appear to be on their own path of activity. A unique feature of Montessori education is free choice of activity. The child chooses what he or she does. A child can work or use a material for as long as he or she wants. No one's going to come and say, you've had that long enough, put it away. No one's going to time them and say you have to use it for a certain amount of time. That's part of the free choice that's built into any Montessori educational environment. Also, particularly for the 3 to 6-year-old, they're not going to have to share that material or that activity. And everyone in the room has been oriented to a very important rule, which is that when something is on the shelf, it's available. If it's not on the shelf, it means someone's using it, and it's not going to be available again until it's back on the shelf. This is a really important rule or limit that's built into the Montessori environment. And that relieves this parallel learner from this anxiety that they're going to have to let someone else use what they're using. The sharing that happens in a Montessori environment is much more profound than what we usually think of in an early childhood environment. It means that everyone is sharing this one material, but respecting that when someone has it, it's theirs. It also means that I think respect in general is a really important feature of a Montessori educational environment. Since everyone is using this same material and they're going to put it back ready for someone else to use, they're going to put it back exactly the way they would like to find it too. So we actually build the golden rule right into every choice and every activity.
Okay, now we have already seen what a Montessori environment is like. So now the following step is to know where you would like to start, right? So I would like you first to type in the chat what comes to your mind when you see that environment. What I don't know, what thoughts come to your mind? So maybe you can share so that I can see them. Okay, freedom, flexibility, love, okay, respect, autonomy, independence, great, exploration. Okay, great. So now I know more or less what your interests are, what you're interested in. So I will make you choose. The following step is to make you choose. So for that, I would like you to take your cell phones and type menti.it. I will write it here so that you have it. Peacefulness, yeah. So let me see, menti.it. And you will have to type the code I'm going to share. Let me see. Now, Anna, can you tell me if you can see it?
Yes.
Okay, so we will have to vote. You will have to enter the code that is here. And you will have to vote whether you would like me to start talking about independence, movement, or freedom and limits. And I will try to include all the things that you have already shared in the chat. So when you're ready, you can start voting. Okay. Apparently freedom and limits. Okay. We're going to give it some time. Okay. Fantastic. So I think that we already have a winner. Okay. Okay, I will stop sharing. Okay, that's it. Fantastic. So we already have a winner. We are going to start talking about freedom and limits. I knew that that was going to be the winner. So I'm going to share now the presentation. Let's see. Let me see. I think I could do it. Can you?
Wait, it takes a couple of seconds, yes, to share.
Okay.
So I tell you, Maggie, don't worry. Yes,
Okay.
great.
Now it's fine?
Yes,
So I'm going
excellent.
to start talking about freedom and limits. Here we are. Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to tell you that there is no freedom without limits. Limits are very important inside a Montessori classroom. We have rules that are clear and consistent. The rules are mainly not to take care of the material, to take care of others, and to take care of yourself. And then what happens is that we can see natural consequences on things. We don't have punishments. Another very important thing when we talk about freedom and limits is the environment itself. The environment is there to set rules too. For example, children cannot run inside the environment. So it is already prepared so that children cannot run inside it. They will have to move and they will have to take care of the material. The material itself is a rule because we use real materials. So if it falls to the floor, it will break into pieces. So we have to take care of it. So the material itself is a limit. And then, of course, as adults, we have to be the model. The other day I was sharing with one of my partners that in order to get into the environment, we have to wear Crocs. We have to change our shoes. So the other day I was there and I forgot to change my shoes. Those things that happen. And so a student came and she told me, well, Maggie, you have to change your shoes because you forgot to do it. And so I said, okay, yeah, thank you for reminding me. So they are all the time paying attention to what we do. So it is very important that we are their models. So, as I was saying, we tend to have natural consequences when things happen, and they are in charge of cleaning, they are in charge of solving the problems. What happens also is that inside an environment, for example, we have to cook. They cook their everyday food, and so they were preparing a cake. And in order to do that, we leave everything ready. They have all the things, all the ingredients that they will need ready for them to prepare it. But one of the kids wanted to use more water to prepare it. So what happens was that the cake was impossible to bake. And so they were saying, okay, but what are we going to do if we cannot solve it? Well, we will not have cake today. So that was a natural consequence of what they were doing. Here we can see another girl cleaning after some water was on the floor. And then, as I was saying, the environment itself is already a limit for students. They can only choose one material. I mean, there is only one material for the whole group, so they have to wait until the other student is using it, or if that material is not ready for that day, they cannot use it that day. So that's already a limit for them. The topic that I wanted to share with you was movement. Well, as you were saying there, as you were sharing, students can move freely inside a Montessori classroom. So I wanted to share some videos. This is my environment today, for you to see how students can move freely in terms of inside the environment, and they can choose freely what they can do. Well, in that part, they are having breakfast. They do it all on their own. They get some tea or water, some marmalade, some cookies, and well, of course, they have only 4 chairs for them to have tea, so that's already a limit. They cannot be more than 4. They know that after doing it, they will have to wash everything, so that's another important rule inside the environment, so that the following person who wants to do it has it ready to have tea. And then, this is another video. Here this girl is preparing some juice. Well, particularly at this age, this is a 3 to 6 Montessori environment. They work mainly individually because Maria Montessori said that this is what children need at this age. And so, as you may see, they are all working in different tables or on the floor using mats. They have to use mats too. That's another rule inside the environment. And there are some activities that they can share and do together with some other partners. But as you may have noticed, inside a kindergarten, children do not work in group. They can just share an activity, but they do not tend to work in groups. They work on the same topic, but doing different things. So this is what we promote inside a Montessori environment. So as regards movements, as we were saying, Montessori said that movement is part of the learning process. Children need to move in order to learn. Children need to use their hands. Children need to use concrete material in order to learn. So this is what we try to foster inside a Montessori environment. Then, another topic was independence. And one of the most important phrases that Maria Montessori left us was that children used to say, help me to do it by myself. So in a Montessori school, we start from the very beginning a journey to independence. This means that everything inside a Montessori environment is child-sized. It means that they can handle all the material that we have. Everything is prepared in order for them to move independently. So they wash what they have used. They may spend a lot of time doing it, but this is respected. As we were saying before, they can have breakfast whenever they need during the morning. The only rule is that they need to have an empty space for them to do it, and they will have to wash everything after doing it. They cook, they do it alone. They can go outside and share some time. They can invite somebody to drink tea or mate in this case. And another important thing inside a Montessori environment is that we work with integrated ages. As you may see, this boy is 7 years old and this girl is 5. And so he is teaching her how to use this material. This is allowed inside a Montessori environment. And these two kids, this boy is 5 and this girl is 3. So they work together on the same activity. This was a girl that was preparing juice before. Now she's drinking it. She's supposed to leave it on the table to share, but well, she drank it. This boy is preparing flowers, is decorating the environment. This makes them feel the environment themselves. As you may see here, this girl is also teaching this boy how to take care of plants. This is one of the activities. And this girl is cleaning this mirror. This happened inside a primary Montessori environment. This is different to what we can see inside in kindergarten. They do work in groups. They also use concrete materials, but the approach is different. They move towards more abstract knowledge. In kindergarten, we concentrate on concrete knowledge. Another important thing that helps in this journey to independence is color coding. So everything that belongs to one material has the same color, so they know where to put it back, where it belongs if they have to put it away. This also helps them to not to depend on the adults to do things. We use trays and baskets to put all the material. And we teach them how to hold trays and baskets. And what is very interesting is that we order the material in the sequence they will have to use it. You see, so here we have the banana, then the knife, and then all the necessary elements that they will need to prepare that. They can either eat it or share it with the rest of the group. And the most important part is that we should believe in students and try to develop self-confidence. I would say that this is the most difficult part for an adult. And as you may have noticed, I haven't talked about language. And I will tell you why. Language is present all the time inside the Montessori environment. First of all, we work with the enrichment of vocabulary. We use stories, poems, songs. We invite them to do it, and they also invite us to work in English. I work together with a partner who speaks all the time in Spanish, and I do it in English. We also talk to them when they are doing all the other activities. It's not that it has to be specifically English, but we can also help them when they need some sort of help doing another type of activity. Then we also play games. We try to use concrete material, as I was saying. Sometimes we work in groups, sometimes we don't. This is one of the items of the material that we use in the sensorial area. This environment is divided into the practical life area, in which they cook and they learn to do everyday things. Then we have the language area, maths area, and then this sensorial area. So first of all, they learn it in Spanish, and then we work with English. Well, this material is a movable alphabet that we use when they start writing. These girls already know how to write and read in Spanish, so now I can start working with them in English. But we start with very simple words. We work with Cbc Words. This is an activity that we were doing the other day that had to do with geography. They were learning about countries, and so they invite me to do it in English. And so we did it. Here, this boy also invited me to work with numbers. Sometimes I invite them, sometimes they invite me. This is very rewarding. And so they were working with numbers here. They wanted to know how we write these numbers. And as I was saying, English and language is present all the time inside the Montessori environment. When they are sharing activities, when they are cleaning, when they are preparing juice, when they are painting, when they are watering the plants and cleaning the environment. And my idea today was just to, well, what Maria Montessori said, that as teachers, we have to plant seeds. So seeds of interest so that students can go on investigating. So my idea today was to plant seeds so that if you like it, you can go on investigating, you can ask, and of course, visit our school if you like. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maggie. Yes, excellent. Well done. Very interesting. Yes. Well, wonderful. Yes. Amazing.
It was very hard to not to see you while I was sharing, so I didn't know.
Yes. Well, okay. Any questions to Magali?
like to ask her a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
I found the presentation. Thank you all. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Nora.
In a little bit late. I had already told Andrea that I was making it here a little bit later. I found your presentation very interesting, and I was wondering in what ways, Magali, would you think that, or would you say that Montessori draws a difference from the Cossettinis? You know, I'm a Cossettini myself, so.
Well, it is very different, in fact. I would say that we try to promote independence in a way, and also that we make students choose. And well, what I wanted to show you today is how we proceed inside a Montessori environment. First, we try to see what you're interested in, and then we make you choose. So I think that that's the most important part and the most different part from the traditional, let's say, education, that we make students choose what they want to learn. Of course, there is some curricula that we have to follow, and it's not that they can choose, I don't know, whatever they want. You see that I gave you options, so this is the way it goes. So I would say that for me, the most difficult part to learn was to lose control in a way, to believe in my students, to realize that they can do it alone, and to make them choose. Because what happens when you invite them to do something and they tell you no? So that's very hard. Like I say, but my activity was fantastic. Yeah, but I don't want to do it. So this is what I had to learn. So I would say that that's the most different part.
Okay, thank you very much.
Maggie, there are a couple of questions on the chat. Can you read them? They are very interesting. I was going to ask some of those questions, that's why.
When and how do they start speaking English? That's the only question I see, is it?
There are some more, I'm afraid. But I can read them to you. I can read them to you, don't worry. That's one, yes.
Well, when and how do they start speaking English? Well, this is, that depends on the student. I cannot tell you how and when. I will tell you that the way we promote English is using a bilingual approach. There is one teacher that speaks in Spanish, I speak in English. And sometimes, one day it explodes and they start speaking English. So this is more or less what happened to me at the bilingual school, traditional school. They started talking when they were ready. And the way we do it is more or less the same. We use songs, we use stories. What else? We use the material that we have in the environment. And the difference is that, suppose if I had to teach colors and I see that they are interested in geography, I will use a map to teach colors. So I will have to try to find the resources that I feel will fit that student. That's more or less how it goes.
It looks like you respect children's silent period. Graciela was asking about how did you manage during the pandemic? Well, most schools were closed, I suppose. When you came back, I mean, perhaps.
Well, it was very hard to do this using Zoom. I have to admit it. But we try to do it in different ways. We try to promote autonomy in a way, because we try to teach the same activities that we have inside the environment using things that we have at home. So we cooked, they learned how to prepare banana, how to prepare fruit. And then we made them choose among all the options that we have inside during the class. So, but of course it was not the same. I cannot tell you that it was the same. It was very hard.
I was really amazed at how children develop their motricity, right? Because holding those trays and carrying things from one place to another. And there is a teacher here, Laura Maffei, is asking, do they use materials made of glass?
Yeah, they
Yes.
do.
They do.
Yes, they do. They do, and that makes them take care of it because they know that the other day they were having tea, and one of the cups fell to the floor, so no more cup of tea. And so there was a natural consequence. The other day they couldn't do it because the material was not ready. So sometimes we try to wait for 1 or 2 weeks to replace the material so that they can see the consequence. Or when I was, the anecdote that I shared before about the cake, well, the consequence was that we didn't have a cake for that day. So, and they couldn't understand it. And well, of course, sometimes we have to talk to them a lot, and well, but limits are very clear. And the important thing is that, as I was saying, this is a journey to independence. It's not that it happens overnight. So we teach them how to hold the glass, how to take plate from one place to the other.
Imagine how difficult it might be. That's why I was thinking about motricity, not at that age. Mariana Canarek was asking, do you work with kids with special needs as well?
Yes, we do. And I mean, what I feel is good in terms of this method is that we can see what their needs are and answer in turn. So this means that if you have some special needs, we will prepare the environment, I mean, not the environment, but the activities that we propose to you in terms of what you need. So if there are children, what I think that could be a problem is with all the material that they have there. I mean, if they are not allowed to choose, if they are not able to choose because they have, I don't know, some difficulties in doing it, well, that could be a problem. And I know that some schools, this is not happening at my school now, so that's why I cannot tell you exactly how they do it. But I know that some teachers had to adapt, I know, giving less choices, for example. So you may choose among these 3 items and not all these activities. So this could be some difficulty, but if not, there is no problem.
2 more questions. What about primary and secondary level? And Sandra Moretti is asking, how do you test students, if you do?
Andri. Well, what about secondary level? Primary, I think I have included a picture of primary school. They work in groups. We sometimes work with projects. They try to investigate. They choose some topics, and I don't know, they create posters, presentations, or for example, the other day one girl was interested in birds. So she went to the garden and she tried to see all the birds that were there, and then she investigated about birds that live in South America. And so from that we could work with body parts of birds, of food, and that's how it goes. But of course, I will say it again, we have to follow certain curricula that we have to follow. It's not that it is like, well, you learn what you want. Yeah, there is something that we have to follow. There is a structure behind it.
All right.
And secondary school,
yes.
Well, we don't have secondary schools here in Rosario, and I think we don't have in Argentina. I think that the idea for secondary schools was rather difficult for this time. They used to live in farms, on farms, and so I don't know. They had to manage everything that they do. They had to be in charge of their own economy. So I don't know so much about it, but I think that it is not possible here in Argentina, at least.
And the last question, there is a teacher who probably wants to apply for a teacher training course. Edita is asking, she's so curious, you see, she's always trying to learn new things. So does Montessori offer a special training for EFL teachers? Obviously.
Yeah. My school is open, so you can visit us whenever you want to. And I would be glad to see teachers there. Yeah,
so perhaps to take a group of students when we can or when it is allowed. Yes, one of our student or in workshops to go and observe a day in a school or in a kindergarten, yes, at your school, Magali. Well, I'm sorry, but I should keep on, go on and present the next one. Maggie, thank you so much. She had temperature today. She was not feeling well, but luckily she was able to make it, yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We really appreciate it, yes.
Okay, thank you. And well, this is just a part of what Montessori is, but if you have more questions, you can text me. There is no problem.
We can contact you. Yes, perhaps you can leave your email on the chat. Yes, so that people interested might contact you. Yes. Well, now thank you again. A big kiss and stay safe. Bye bye. Well, you stay with me. Okay. Okay. Stay if you want. If you feel like staying, you can stay. Yes. All right. Bueno, last but not least important, yes, I'd like to introduce Miss Paula Alvarez. Paula is going to share her experience as a YouTube presenter. Due to the pandemic, many teachers were forced to change their teaching methods, including teaching through videos. In this presentation, Paula will talk about how this new reality became an opportunity to explore an unknown world and end up working for the Cambridge University YouTube channel. Paula Alvarez is a student of Workshop 4 at Teacher Education Program for Initial and Primary Education at IES Olga Cossettini in 2021, where she previously graduated as a literary, technical, and scientific translator. She's recently become an EFL video content creator for the Cambridge University Press YouTube channel. Yes?
Well, thank you very much.
Ready?
That was such a great introduction, Edita. So thank you very much. Edita, sorry. Devita. We call I changed your name. Well, hello everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Paula Alvarez, and I am a translator, English-Spanish translator, and I am currently studying the teacher educational program. So, well, I will hopefully graduate soon. Well, however, I have to say that I am also a YouTube presenter for Cambridge University. In order to let you know a little bit more of who I am, I'm going to share with you a video, okay? Let me know if you can listen to it. Well, hi everyone. My name is Paula and I'm from Argentina. Argentina. Argentina, Argentina. I live in the beautiful city of Rosario. Where our flag was hoisted for the first time in 1812 by Manuel Belgrano. And now it's the place where you can find the flag memorial, where people gather to celebrate and also to participate in demonstrations. It also has the large river Paraná
and its lovely beach, La Florida. Now, let me tell you a bit of who I am. I've got 2 dogs, which I absolutely love, Otoño and Vintage. Love of my life. He hides it, but he loves me, I know. I've been teaching English for 5 years to kids, teenagers, adults, and in different contexts, such as schools, private institutes, companies. But it wasn't until last year that I realized, due to the pandemic, that I could teach my students in a fun way through videos. I like teaching everyday expressions, grammar topics, vocabulary, and I love acting. So I'll do my best to offer you entertaining educational videos. English has also helped me to do another thing that I love, that is traveling. And that is why I have a huge collection of keyrings.
Because of the current situation, most people aren't able to travel, so it's nice to have my keyrings to remind me of some great trips.
Argentina has so many magnificent landscapes. But what I most like about it is its people and its culture, because we like sharing moments together, either watching a great football match or drinking mates, that is our typical beverage. What about you? Where are you from? And what do you most like about your country? Please leave a comment below so I can get to know you a little bit more. I'm really looking forward to being one of the new Learn English with Cambridge YouTube presenters. What a long sentence! I can't wait for you to watch my videos to learn and have fun at the same time. Look out for my next video on past habits coming soon. But if you haven't done it yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video.
All right, so that's me. So you may be asking, oops, sorry. I think that I have, yes. You may be asking yourselves, well, but how did she become a YouTuber, right? How? And I am really excited about it. Well, being the year 2021, we cannot deny that technology is here to stay. And social media has opened a door for those who love sharing posts and stories. And well, in fact, there are many well-known influencers, YouTubers, and Instagrammers who teach English in bite-sized lessons. And and teenagers love them because they spend most of their time using their cell phones. So we have 2 alternatives. We can dismiss them, or we can take this opportunity and take advantage of the situation and let them help our students practice their English, right? Yes. So as you could see in the video, because of the pandemic, lots of teachers had to change their teaching methods, and some of them had to create videos for their students. And I realized that I really loved it, so I also encouraged my students to make videos their own, and we had a great time in class. They loved it. They made vlogs and Netflix trailers, so it was really, really interesting for them. But one afternoon in August, I was using social media, as Juliet said before, and then I came across this ad on, I think it was Instagram, in which Cambridge University was looking for new YouTube presenters to join their Learn English team in order to teach language learners around the globe how to use English in real life situations. So I said to myself, if not now, when? And I took the plunge and I decided to audition. For the audition, we had to create a 2-minute video in which we introduced ourselves and we have to present a topic. We have to teach a topic. And I knew exactly what I was going to do because I had done it before in another lesson. So I was really confident about the video. Of course, I sent the audition not being a technical genius. If you know me, you know that I wasn't a technical genius, but I had lots and lots of enthusiasm. So I sent my audition and I was really excited about it. So months passed and nothing happened. I did not receive that email that I wanted to receive, but in November, I woke up to the most exciting news ever. And the email was there. I had been chosen among more than 600 videos. And I was really, really, really excited. It took me only 7 minutes to reply the email, confirming that I was still interesting. So you can imagine how excited I was. Well, they chose only 5 presenters from all around the world. So together with the 4 original presenters, we are 9. That's from, well, Argentina, me, Brazil, Colombia, the Czech Republic, South Korea, Spain, Vietnam, and, well, Cambridge, UK. So it was such a pleasure it is an honor for me to say that I was chosen among so many videos, right? And they gave us all the necessary equipment, the camera, the laptop, the editing program, a green screen, lights, microphones, and an online training, which was really, really interesting because we learned a lot. So the question is, what do I do? Well, actually, I do lots of things. First, sometimes Cambridge gives us the topic. Sometimes we make suggestions and we discuss it. And when we finally reach an agreement, we start scripting. And then, well, we send the script, the outline, we get some corrections. And when we got them, we have to film and we have to edit. And then we send the draft copy, we get corrections, we make amendments, and then we send the final copy, and then the video is uploaded to the channel. So you see, it's a lot. Every video takes a lot of time and effort. So please be nice in the comment section. And then, well, sometimes we're also given the opportunity to write for the Cambridge blog that's called The World of Better Learning. I was interviewed for the launching process, so you can find my interview there. And a few weeks ago, I was asked to write a book recommendation, and I chose Frankenstein. So you have it there in the blog if you want to take a look at it. So what it means to me? It means the world to me. I'm working for Cambridge. I can't believe my eyes, right? And I really enjoy my experience working for the channel. It's interesting to think that some of my videos are helping students and teachers all over the world. And I have learned a lot along the way also. It is a job opportunity that was unexpected, I never saw coming, right? And as one of my teachers told me, you never know where it may take you. You know where it starts, but it's like, we don't know what will happen. And this is all, of course, thanks to the level of education that the public institutes such as Olga Cossettini offers. So my message for all of you today is think about all the job possibilities that are there hidden. As Juliet said before, you have to find them, you have to search for them. And when you find them, go for them, apply, don't be scared, because if you think that you're good at it, you can end up doing what you love. That is my case. So I want to thank Olga Cossettini for opening that door for me. And I want to say congratulations on the 85th birthday.
Well done, congrats. another ambassador, yes, worldwide from our institute. Pauli, you've always been so spontaneous and full of energy, and now I see that you are full of optimism. And you know what is the limit? The sky is the limit for you, my dear. For all of you, yes, for all of these young teachers and people who today, honestly, I have learned so much from you. Yes, and I always say that our students teach us all the time. Yes, as teachers, we learn a lot from our students. Yes, a pleasure to listen to all the full presentations today. I don't want to keep you much longer. I'd like to, thank all of you to share your experiences and new challenges. And and all of you who are here and who have attended. But before we leave, I would like to sing the happy birthday, yes, all together. So turn on your microphones. I'm going to share a picture or a photograph, yes, and it could have been a bit better, or perhaps with some song or something like that, but it was going to be too much complicated. So everybody, Tony, come on, let's sing the happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy All right. Well, I'm so glad to. Yes!
Bravo! Bravo!
We need some children.
Very young voices.
Bravo! Hello,
Hi there.
Yes. Okay. The best to all of you. Stay safe. Take care. Hope we can meet soon again somewhere at the Institute. Yes, and hug each other, or at least, I don't know.
Te podés callar.
Shake hands. I don't know who's talking. Well, all right. Let's say goodbye now. That's the end of it. It's 20:29 sharp. What a timing, my dear. Yes? Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you all. Bye. Thank you.
Yes? Bye-bye. Thank you, Graciela. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Andrea and Mariel, who were also there. Yes, Lilia, you look so moved. Yes, hi. Okay, well, we miss you. Bye-bye. We miss you all. Bye-bye.